Hello, 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 everybody. Tanya Pax of the Truthpreneur here with the amazing founder of Rachel's Wellness, Rachel Feldman, and she has a really great story. I found her in a Facebook group that I was in, and I think it was the Freedom Hackers, right?
Yes.
And we got along so well, right? Because I always do my pre-interviews. You know how I do, guys. So I knew that she would be able to bring you guys so much value and so much encouragement because of what she has been through, but yet she has not let that stop her from creating her life out of her passion, her business, and really living out her dreams, and just really expressing who she is no matter what she's been through. And that alone is really powerful because many don't love to tell their stories, hence the reason why I love the moments of truth. And the moments of truth are really about entrepreneurial stories, right? So if you're watching this replay, definitely share it, tell a birdie, post it on Facebook, and all that good, great stuff. My name, your host, is Tanya Paxit. I am also called the Truthpreneur, where I help you simplify your life and streamline your business. And so we have, I also have Rachel actually doing a guest blog because we talked about some amazing stuff about productivity and health. And it was so awesome that I'm like, you have to share that. Like, you have to share that. So, Rachel, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and,
That's
where they can find you. Yeah.
So one, where you can find me is at www.rachelswellness.com. I also create done-for-you programs for other wellness entrepreneurs, health coaches, fitness entrepreneurs, chiropractors, you name it. I think every different person has got a done-for-you program at Health Coach, www.healthcoachbiz.rachelswellness.com. But bottom line is I am a health coach. I am a entrepreneur. I have 2 kids under the age of 9. I'm a wife, and I love doing what I do. I always have. I've always owned my own business, except for 2 years of my life where I worked for somebody else, which means that I got my insurance paid for, which was really nice, but I was still an independent contractor. So owning a business and having that mentality of an entrepreneur is something that I know very well. And it did need to shift when I moved into being a health coach, because that's a heart-centered business. And so if you're on this and you're sitting there like, what does she mean heart-centered? Well, when I was in commercial real estate, that was, even though I came with that as a heart-centered business, and that's why I was very successful, is people would say, I love working with you because you don't screw me over. You don't lie to me. Like, you're just a straight up person. That's why I had a successful business. But once I moved into being a health coach, it was harder for me to say, I'm going to charge you for this, because I was helping people to get healthy. I was helping people with different health issues. And so building that business has been different. And a part of my story is that we lost all of our savings when the stock market crashed. My husband's business, and even though I had always worked, that was a big part of just who I am. We lost everything. We sold our home. Luckily, we had paid that off. We sold our home. We were able to live on that savings, I would say, for about 1.5 years at the beginning part of my health coaching practice. And then that pretty much went between kids' school, Montessori, and bills and cars and life, and having to buy another house and stuff like that. And so I had to, build a practice and support my family. And I still do that to this day, 60 years later. So that's my story in a nutshell. And there's more to it. I'm sure you're going to ask me some questions. And I kind of one of those ask and I will tell all kind of people.
I know, and I love it. I love it because we share that similarity, And so I wanted to ask you, obviously, you have children, and you had this, you had an obvious heart, right, to step into your passion. But when when you saw the money dwindling down and you saw all these things happening, but you wanted to still obviously maintain that same lifestyle, was there a moment of truth for you that really just changed the way that not only you saw stepping into your passion, but that you kind of, really just took those steps? Was there a moment of truth that was like, screw it, I'm just going to do this even if it's my last dime?
Well, I mean, there's a few
So
different
there's a few different
components.
components.
Am I hearing
Am I
myself just, or are you hearing myself fine? Because I'm
I'm
hearing
hearing
an
you.
echo. Okay. So there are a few different components. One is that in my 20s, at the beginning of my career in commercial real estate, I got sick, and it wasn't the first time that I got sick. I had asthma as a kid. I had, and not as a kid, actually, when I was 18, in and out of the hospital, intubated, life support. I had an ulcer when I was 14. But I was one of those people that swam competitively, went to the gym, was a gym rat, always looked healthy. And that's pretty much the story of every one of my clients. Look healthy, doctors can't figure out, and I'm not saying anything bad about doctors, but nobody can figure out like what's wrong with them, but something's wrong. And so I, at the beginning of my career, got sick. And I remember like really getting sick, was like white, completely white, not going to the bathroom at all, and always had like some constipation issues. I don't know what woman doesn't have some level. Guys seem to be able to like poop out 5 pounds easy. Like they're like, oh, I ate a big meal, I'm going to go poop. And then like 5 pounds are just gone. But women, it's a little different because of like hormones and stuff. But in my career, I remember saying to my mom, like, something's really wrong with me and I don't know what it is. And I went to universities and hospitals. And to make a long story short, I ended up at this chiropractor's office, and they did about $9,000 of tests. And they were like, you have heavy metals, you have liver toxicity, you have adrenal fatigue stage 3, you have this, you have that. I mean, it was like a list of everything. And they were like, we're going to have to do all these different protocols. And bottom line is, I was like, I don't have any money for you. I walked out of that office. I got in my car. I cried all the way back from Philly. I cried all the way back, driving from, it's like 45 minutes out of Philly, back into Philly, and drove into what's now Whole Foods, which was Freshfields at that time, and was like, dude, where are your books? Like, I just need to know where your book section is. And they were like, it's over there. And I picked up like 2 books, and I just went home. And I don't think I left my house for like 4 days, pretty much. I just read and I read and I read. And back then we didn't really have, I mean, you remember, it wasn't like Google. We like kind of had the internet, and you just kind of like, it would like be dial up, and you'd be like, please dial.
AOL.
Yeah, it would be like ding, 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 ding. But anyway, I sat for like days, and I just researched and went into every different place and was like, okay, I know I have heavy metals. I know I've got liver toxicity. I know I've got candida and parasites and all this like fun, funky stuff. But I was in real estate and I had to make money. And so I went and got all these different vitamins, and I would carry around an H&M bag filled with, and I smelled like garlic all the time, filled with all this stuff. And I swore this one day that I would be a coach of some kind, because I didn't ever want to tell somebody, do this one thing and you will get well. And because that's what I see everywhere. Here, do this, follow this, do this 7-step thing and you will make 7 figures. Follow this and you will make $5 grand. Take this and you will lose this amount of weight. And you know what I say? Have a bonfire with all that bullshit. Yeah. So, I wanted to go and be a health coach. Well, I got out of real estate. It was the first time that I hadn't worked. I had 2 babies under the age of 4 and went off to school. And when I graduated, it was the same month that my husband turned to me and was like, hey, honey, just want to let you know. And my husband wasn't in the stock market. It was just very similar. And we had all our money invested. He was like, we've lost everything. And I think we need to sell the house. And I think we should move to a different place that has a slower lifestyle. And I was like, I didn't even know what to do as I was looking at my kids. Thinking, do I go back to real estate? Like, I know I could go back. I would, be in that office at 7 a.m., coming home at, 8, in an all guys, kind of boiler room setting. And I knew I could do great. Like, it wasn't a doubt that I just knew I would not be following what I was meant to do, And so I sat there at that pivotal decision and said, I can either follow with faith, and I don't mean religion. I can either follow with faith and go after what I know I'm meant to do, and be a coach and like help people who felt helpless like me, not just in health. Like, I went to Reiki school, so it wasn't just that physical. It was like, I'm not like that yoga kind of chick, so I know that like ailments aren't just physical, they're emotional, they're metaphysical, they're karmic, they're whatever you want to say, whether you believe me or not. This is how I feel. Right. And so I was like, okay, I remember saying to my husband, I'm going to be a health coach, and I'm going to support us. He was like, how? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to figure it out. And year 1, I made 13 grand, and I was like, oh, we're in trouble. And year 2, I had like almost tripled it. I had almost tripled it. And honey, that's my daughter. I almost tripled it. And I was like, this still, I don't think is going to cut it, for our family. And it's not even about the lifestyle. It was just Montessori was $1,200 for each kid. And even not just Montessori, preschool. I mean, this is when I add up just life. Crappy preschool was $899. I mean, that's like, so it was just like, what do I do? And that's when I said, I got to figure out a system. And that's when I really not just tapped into my why, but really said, what do I have to do? Charge my worth, get into the mindset, like make what I did in real estate applicable to this, get out of the, oh no, it's okay, I'll just talk to you for free about your health. Really get over the fact that even though I was in this heart-centered business, that I was really in a business. And that was the birth of my business, and being able to take it from that into what it is now, which is a 6-figure business where I support my family and have a rockin' husband who helps me take care of my children. And you just saw my daughter walk in and give me a spelling test. And that's it. That's what I do.
Now, do you, and that was so awesome. I love how you went and you researched, and you didn't just say, oh my gosh, I'm sick. Oh my gosh, this is what happened. And now, I'm just going to take a bunch of pills and I'm just going to, number my days kind of thing. Because I remember I had a lot of these issues, just lethargic, a lot. We've spoken about some of those things. And I realized, when I go to a naturopathic doctor, and I do believe in doctors, yes. But I really do prefer taking that information and handling it the most natural way as possible. And, I understand, hey, you know what, if somebody's diabetic, take your medicine, that's fine. But also find a natural way that you can lower the insulin and you can do what you need to do and not rely on that. And so you still have to take action, even though you're taking medicine throughout that process. And that's exactly what was happening to me, where I was like, okay, so I went there and I had the same issues, liver failure, almost diabetic. And I'm like, this could be changed by food. And I became passionate about it, definitely, so I can have, that understanding of legacy and really keeping the business going in what I do. But I didn't start a business out of it. And so I wanted to kind of tap into that, because a lot of individuals, they have these life-changing, altering moments like what you did. But how do they understand, in your perspective, what was that moment of truth for you that said, as opposed to, this is going to be the passion that I build my business on, or I'm just passionate about getting my health together so then I can go do another business about something else. Or why didn't it stay with real estate and you just create different funnels and coach and do that with that? What was the moment of truth that you identified, like, this was for you as a health coach?
For sure. I mean, You know, and to be honest, like I think when you're a person who wants to create a legacy, you have to be that person who is a baller. I mean, that's what we would say in Philly. Like, you just have to be like, you know, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you're not the person who sits on the sideline. You have to be the person. And I listen to Eric Thomas and Les Brown every morning and lots of other people. You have to be like, I am going to be the best. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to work harder. Nobody, you have to say nobody can outwork me, which is ironic because I have an autoimmune and Lyme and a bunch of other crazy stuff. So sometimes I don't feel the greatest, but that doesn't matter. So I felt that same way in real estate. I was like, I am going to be the best. And in year 1, year 2, I was outdoing some of top guys who had been there 15 years because my mentality was, I am going to rock the shit out of this business. But when I got sick and nobody knew what the hell was going on, and I was crying in my bathroom, and I didn't know my hubby. I didn't know anybody. I felt alone. I felt broken. I mean, that was the thing. And I think pivotal things in life happen. You know, I felt broken. I felt scared. I felt like taken, you know what I mean? Kind of, and that's my biggest thing, like in life, like loyalty is a big thing for me, and like not BSing people. And so when somebody was like, here, do this protocol, this is the only way. And I said to them, I don't have any money. Can you help me out and like tell me what to do? And they were like, nope, only this. I was like, so it was empowering when I went and was like, I'm going to figure this out at Freshfields. I'm going to go. It was the researching. I didn't know that that was going to be my path until I sat there and was like, I am going to help somebody one day when I can who feels like me. So yeah. I think there are people, and you know, it's interesting. Like, I love teaching. Like, I am a health coach, but I also am a business coach. I also create done for you programs. I also teach at Hippocrates Business. Like, there are certain people who have that moment, that pivotal truth, and say, I am put here to empower other people to go to a different place. So I said, and I remember sitting there, it was actually at the beach, and I remember turning to my husband. I was like, I have to go to school. I have to. And it was actually during a time where my kids who came birthed from me were having health issues. You know, they were birthed with a lot of heavy metals. They, you would never look at them, but they had sensory issues. There was a lot of stuff that they had. And I knew that we had to do like very early intervention. And so they were a big part of my inspiration. So it was that aha moment where I was like, I have to do this. I don't know what was at that moment, but I had time to just be quiet and be like, what's important to me? Why have I gone through all of these things? H. pylori, Clostridia, and also looking at my own family. 2 grandmothers who died at 60, one of a bleeding ulcer, which I had at 14, one of, you know, cancer. It's like a grandfather with congestive heart failure. It's like, I'm not going to be defined by my genetics and my destiny. No, I'm going to create my destiny.
Amen. So I love it.
Could I have done that in real estate and rocked real estate? I love commercial real estate. I've loved everything I've ever done, because if I don't, I don't want to do it. I'd rather die. I know that sounds like wrong, but I think it was that moment that I said, I have to do this because it's a calling. And if there's another calling, that's what I'll do.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it because, you know, I've noticed a lot of entrepreneurs, they have a very big struggle, business owners and people with vision, to be flexible and to reevaluate and step into that. Like what you said, that calling, it's an ever changing sometimes. I remember when I started off in photography and, you know, I felt passionate about that. And then I stepped into, you know, teaching. And then eventually I'm like speaking and doing these things. And I'm like, oh, okay. It kind of transformed into its own thing. And so that's why I always say follow your passion, because it's the pathway to your destiny. And, you know, like even like people watching the replay, you know, just encouraging you guys that just like how you saw Rachel, she's over 6 figures, very, very successful. stepping into her health and really stepping into that calling that she has. But it took a process of her being flexible and yielding to different times in her life to know exactly how that was going to formulate. And so I really love that about you, that you really allowed yourself to just flow. And I definitely, I have Marlo here. She's also a health coach, and she's actually transitioning into really the inner healing of women that are broken, and that also includes health. And I definitely want to get her on so she can ask questions and engage, because she's phenomenal. So I did, but before I do that, I wanted to, you have been through, you have health, right? You have business transition, you have your children. And when we were talking, you also mentioned learning disabilities. And so I'm sitting here like, I want to just, I just want to, I want to encourage the business owners out there, the dreamers out there, that there is absolutely nothing that can stop you but yourself. And so can you share those different moments of truth that you had? Obviously, there were many that you said, okay, I don't care though. Learning disability, health issues, kids sick, there's a way that I can do this. And every daily action, whether small for 10, 15 minutes, was a part of your extended journey. It wasn't like it came overnight. Like you said, right? 13,000 the first year, and you maybe tripled it the next year. That's not ideal for some people. Yeah. So like, speak a little bit about your learning, the learning issues that you had, and what you kind of do on those days. What is that thing that you do on those days that you're not feeling well? Do you rest? Do you push yourself beyond? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, no, I mean, and those are killer questions, because, yes, I do have learning disabilities, and I have like some forms of dyslexia and stuff like that. And it was always really hard in school. SATs, it was a sin. I mean, test taking was a sin. Not until I actually got out of school did I understand how my brain worked. And I wish, and I do this for my children, because they're very similar to me. Not until I understood how my brain worked did I really understand how I needed to study. And so, I had such low self-esteem, even though I was great athletic-wise. I had such low self-esteem. I thought I was stupid. I was always in the D group. I didn't understand things. I couldn't read. I think I was like in first grade, I really started to understand how to read. And it just didn't make sense how things got put together. And I've struggled with that. I mean, that's part of business also, is that you have to face your demons and your old stories. And so for me, ironically, is that I write programs, and so the very things that were a struggle for me, I actually faced my fears. I have a fear of public speaking. And so I knew that I would never have a successful business if I didn't know how to public speak. So I started 6 years ago, and you can go on my YouTube channel. I started creating YouTube videos because I would shake, literally my whole face would shake if I started to speak. So I was like, I'm going to start creating YouTube videos, because I wouldn't just be that person that was going to be like, well, I'll never speak in public. I'll never do an event. I knew if I wanted to have a dream, a vision that was going to turn it into a reality, that I needed to take small action. And, having big dreams, you need to have that dream, but you need to take small action. So small action for me means every day listening to not just an inspirational video, but it means what is applicable. Great. Go into Buffer and schedule my social media, or go post every day, blog. The same thing I did in the beginning is what I do today. I make sure I'm blogging 2 to 3 times a week. I make sure I'm shooting a video. I make sure, so it's like, hold yourself accountable to your schedule. And then, when I don't feel good, people always say, oh, take a day off, go for yoga. One, I don't do yoga. I'm sorry. It's just not in my personality, but I love people who do it. I just don't. But, I think when you're a business owner, just like if you own a hair salon or you are a hairstylist, it takes 3 years to build a book. It's pretty much in a business. Like, don't quit before the miracle happens, because it does take time to build a book. It takes time for people to be like, oh, wow, you blog. Oh, wow, you have visibility. Oh, wow, you've got great content. So don't think people aren't, like, if you're a shitty writer, then do a video. If you're a crappy writer and it takes you 3 hours, so what? You will get better. And that's what happened with me. It took time, but I got better. And so when I don't feel well, sometimes it doesn't matter. And I'm being honest, because it's my business and there's not another me. There's only me. And sometimes I have to. But what I've learned is, if I don't feel that great, sometimes I take it down a notch. I've learned to not overbook, but I will tell you, there are times, and there are still times, where I have to take opportunities because they're not going to come around again. And that is what, I actually said this to my son last night. I don't know what I was talking about, but I was like, dude, if you want it to be easy, and he's 9, and this is what I was saying at the dinner table. I was like, if you want it to be easy, get a job at like Target or something. We were talking about business, and and I was like, that's what I said to somebody. Get it. No offense to Target. I was like, get a job working for somebody else. And I was like, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And he was like, Mom, what are you talking about? And I was like, I'm talking about what it takes to build a business and what it takes to be in life. Because the thing I think that our generation and Generation X got so screwed with is, no, it's not easy. You got to put in the work, and it might not feel so good at times, but that's okay. Exactly. Fail and fail forward. So when I don't feel so hot, you know what? I say, I don't feel so hot. Let me move to the couch, put a pillow, and put my, laptop on, and not work so hard or whatever. But that's just life.
Yeah, it absolutely is life. But I love how you say no excuses, and no matter what, you set an intention. And, I really believe that really a lot is subconscious. And because we love what we do, we could not feel well and still step up on a live interview or whatever. And because we love truth so much, and that's why I adore you, because you love truth so much, and you're secure with who you are, I'm fine to be like, I don't feel very well, and I'm kind of on here, I might not look crazy, I'll help everybody out and try to put some lip gloss or something on, but at the same time, it's like, there has to be that understanding, that confidence factor, if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and take a seat. If you want to jump on, I have some open seats here. Just go ahead and jump on and support Rachel, and, ask her questions, and you can ask her anything, how she's gotten through some things. And, I know that we're going to be, so yeah, just click call in, and you'll be able to just jump right on. So, I know that there is a different lifestyle right now that you have to live. And a lot of individuals, I love this because you've taken the sacrifice, right? There's things you're not going to eat. There's things that you can't eat. There's, places you can't really go, environments you don't want to be in, whether for your personal, sanity, and it affects your health, however. And you've said, not only am I not going to quit, I'm going to stay focused, but you said that's not an excuse. And so you said, I'm going to do what I need to do, because I've talked to people where they're like, oh my gosh, you don't do dairy, you don't do this. And I'm like, no, it's not healthy for me or my blood type. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm still going to do my stuff. And I'm like, well, that's fine. You go into the hospital. I'm going to just, do what I need to do. So what is your thoughts on, what would you say to individuals that they know that they have to make a sacrifice, not only for their health, but also for their business? Stepping into 6 figures, we don't do the same thing that we did last, in the beginning. There's a lot of stuff that there's automation, and there's preparation, and things come easier to us. For us to write a blog post can take us 20-30 minutes because it just pours out of us. And sometimes it could take a couple hours. You never know. But, what would you say to individuals when it comes to their health as well as in their business about taking that step and sacrificing that they're really not missing anything? You know,
I mean, I think working with a lot of clients, I always say this. Some people, it's really easy to let go of food. Food. I think I always put food in like the level of like gambling, drugs, that kind of, food for some people can be like, I'm never going to eat dairy and it's just whatever. Food for most people is an emotional thing. It's food for some people is just food and it's just fuel, but that's not the case for the majority of the world. Otherwise we wouldn't have such a huge, obesity issue. We wouldn't have such a huge diet industry. So, I think for myself, like there are times that I do choose foods that aren't great for me. And it's when I'm not caring about myself. And that's the honest truth. I'll be like, I want to just eat this. And then I'm like, oh, and I feel like crap. Yeah. And I've had to actually do kind of that Tony Robbins thing. I have to like play it out and be like, if I eat this food, what am I going to be like? Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So it's like, if I go and eat corn chips, even if they're like non-GMO and they're healthy and God has graced them and like they come from Whole Foods, they're made in a farm and whatever, they don't do well with me. So then I have to play it out. I'm not going to sleep well. My thyroid's going to be off. Like, and then game is not on for my business. Then I snap at my kids. I'm not happy. I'm kind of off, and being off stinks. So it isn't just, for when I always say, like, when you run a business, your spirituality, your business, your personal life, your food, there is no separation. So unless you're working for somebody and you can go home, when you're a business owner, there is no separation. So I think, when it's sacrifice of, my daughter will come in sometimes, or my son, and say like, Mommy, can you come out and do this? And like, I was launching the other day and I was like, Mommy has to finish this. Mommy has a goal right now. And she was like, oh, Mommy. I was like, well, you want to go away for 8 days? Like how Mommy has to pay for that. So I try to make it so it's not just like, well, Mommy has to work. I try to teach them like, unfortunately, is that the sacrifice that I can't go out at that one moment? Yeah. And, that sometimes it does make me sad. And that is the real, that is the reality, that there are things that I sacrifice as a woman or as a mom or as whatever. And people always say, oh, outsource, and I read Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Work Week, and I do outsource, but at the end of the day, like people are buying you. So even if you're automated, even if you outsource, even if you have an online business manager, even if you have a VA, even if you have a web person, at the end of the day, it is your business. And there are times that I have outsourced and I feel so divorced, or people are screwing stuff up so much that I've been like, whoop, oh my. And that I have to literally like get so back in. So I have a funny thing with outsourcing. Now, one, am I a control freak and I'm a type A driven kind of person? Yeah. And most business people are. And I'm kind of proud of that. And I'm under 5 foot and I'm in Aries and I'm from Philly and I'm Jewish. So that is a shit storm.
When is your birthday?
March 28th.
Oh my God, March 24th. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, of course. But what I will also say is that the sacrifices are worth it, because when you do figure out your system, and I'm being very honest with you, this is what they call marketing, rinse and spin. When you figure out your system, even if it's a sales funnel, boom, somebody's coming to an opt-in freebie. What is that autoresponder? When are you following up? What are you leading them to? Working with you, a program, an event, a workshop. What's the win? What's the goal? Once you figure that out, whether it's a 15, email sales funnel or a 1, you start to breathe, and there will always be changing evolution. That is business. There will always be the roller coaster.
Yeah.
In any launch, you will always feel the anxiety and the rush and the down. So, that is part of it, but that's the beauty. And, I think, sacrifices, would I do it any different? No. Would I exchange any health issues that I've had? Nope. I wouldn't, because everything that I've gone through has brought me to every breakdown, to every breakthrough, and every aha moment, and every truth bomb, and everything. So that's it. And yes, do I have bags under my eyes? Hell yeah. And do I not get Botox? Yeah. So that's why you see the wrinkles. But that is it.
I love it. I love it. I love how honest and truthful you are. Anybody feel free to jump into the seat. I see you guys in the chat. Just jump on over and you can actually talk live. I love when people love to hide,
But it's cool. But, I talk a lot.
It's okay. But, I love the fact that, you talk about automation, because that was something big. There are tasks that I send to my VA. Yes. And that's simple stuff like, hey, can you get this up, this. But I respond to all my social media, all of my emails. She'll send something to me and then I post it myself. There's a bit of truth, and there's a way and a representation that I have on my brand that I want in the forefront. Also, you are the one that's going to connect with people. And so, there's certain things that I don't agree with of, outsourcing and streamlining. And, I get outsourcing when it's like, hey, I got to build this crazy funnel. Can you help me really, understand the full process? Yeah. They have those things, but I totally agree with you on the whole outsourcing thing. You have to be really wise as to, what you're going to do, because that's not everything is going to simplify your life. And some people think that, that will, and it's not necessarily going to do that. And you can feel like you're divorced from your business. Like, man, I don't even feel I'm involved anymore, But, I know that obviously health is not a cookie cutter. Neither is entrepreneurship and owning a business. And, in wrapping up, I know that we spoke a lot about productivity. You said that, Marlo, if you don't just jump on this chat, she keeps jump on this chat, girl. Oh, she's so funny. I love her. No, you gotta look at the seat. If you look at the seat, it says open. You actually can call in. Go ahead and hit call in, and you'll actually be able to actually jump on to the live in the box. Yeah, just hit call. You should be able to actually jump right on. We actually have a question. Hold on one second. We have a question. It sounds like the constraints that you put in your life have really helped you. What are your top 3 for business owners? I will put this right in the front so you can see. So Rachel, that's for you. Can you see that question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so I would say for the top 3 for business owners, number 1 I always say, go back to the basics. I think it's very easy to get lost. Like, do I need a website? Do I need this? Do I need that? Make sure list building is your blood. So if you are not list building on a daily basis, and also testing your market. So, you can have multiple opt-in freebies. Don't just depend on the one on your site, because the one on your site is only going to get that one person who's coming. You want to have other list builders that are hidden, like in MailChimp, MadMimi, Constant Contact, Entreport, Infusionsoft, whichever one you're using. Make sure that you are list building and getting those contacts into one place. And then you can really target those people. So if somebody's signing up for, let's just say hypothetically, a list builder that, is something that is for, fitness, like 10 tips for, for people to do, to lose weight, in their home, blah, blah, blah. you can really target those people. You know that they signed up. Great. Send a follow-up 4 days later. Send a follow-up 14 days later. Hey, how'd you do it? You can really target those people. They may go to your general list, but you can start to really warm that up. Build those relationships. A lot of people say, you know, I only have 14 people on my list or 30 people. 30 people can turn into a lot of clients if you're warming up and really communicating. I think that's the biggest thing that I see. People are like, I got to build, I build. I mean, I built from a 0 list to 20,000 people because I have so many opt-in freebies. And be authentic. Don't just like post something like, hey, sign up for this. People see that as spam. We are in an era where there's so much email marketing, so much content. Get personable. Like really let people know, hey, you know, this is what's going on in my life. This is what happened. You know, I want to let you know if you're interested in finding out or gain a strategy session with me or want to know about this, I'm sending out this free something, or you can hop on this webinar. Like let people know great content, what's happening with you, post pictures that's happening in your real life. We're in an era right now where people want to see real.
Yes.
People want to really understand you. So I would say those are like top 3 for business owners, like, you know, list building, be real, send out great content. And I think those are things to not forget without a doubt on a daily basis. And do videos. That's the other one. I will put that in. Do videos, whether it's Vimeo or YouTube. Post them on Facebook because you will really get a lot of followers who get to know your personality much faster than just like posting something saying like, hey guys, here, garlic is really good. Like they couldn't find that anywhere. But if you actually do a video on like why garlic is really good and like what it did for you, somebody's going to not only see your personality, but they'll be like, wow, I'm going to follow her. Like she's not only slangy-ish kind of when she talks, but she's kind of whatever. I'm just talking about myself. Yeah. So those would be my.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just like, you know, making sure that you are always looking to add value, you know? So Marlo, Rachel, Marlo, I don't know if you guys know each other.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
How
are you?
Can you hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. I friended you today.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, you friended me back. I think you already did. Anyway, I thank you for being on. This is great. It's really interesting. My background is health and fitness, but you know, it's really interesting to hear you speak about your frustrations with your health, right? Because I think so many people give up on health when they hit a wall. You know, for example, I know Tanya's talked about her stuff and you talked about your stuff, and so many people will use that as an excuse. They'll say, well, because I'm, you know, I've sciatica or, you know, gluten intolerance or a million different things, I need to not do anything. And I feel like, and this is the comment I made in the box earlier, is that, you know, when, especially as an entrepreneur and when you're in business, you know, how you treat your health and how you treat your business are literally in alignment. And I know for myself that when I'm feeling stuck in my business, it's really easy for me to look at the shiny stuff, get distracted, you know, say, oh, I need to take the day off or whatever. Your health is no different. You know, when we feel stuck in our health, the easy way out is to just say, I don't feel good today. I think I better not go to the gym, or I think I better not go for a walk. Well, everybody on this blab knows that those are the moments that are breakthrough moments, right? You can either break down or break through. We have the choice. And so it's a really interesting alignment. And I do find that people who take their health by the, you know, the kahunas, do the same in their business. It's really interesting. I mean, it's a personality, it's a skill. And I don't think that it comes naturally, because I could naturally be a very distracted person. Naturally, I want to talk and you know, be on social media and walk around and dust my counters. That's natural for me. What's not natural is for me to focus. I always laugh because Tanya's Skype name has beside it, focusing. I think she probably does that as a reminder to herself that that's what she's supposed to be doing, because she's like me and you. You know, we're all kind of similar personalities. We have really, really busy brains.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, and I think like kudos to you for taking your health to the next level just by fighting the fight. And obviously you've done that in your business, you know, and I think you must be a great coach, and I'm sure you're a great person to follow. And I'm certainly going to be following you and watching your journey. You know, I think it's great. Yeah, I've been enjoying this. Sorry.
Thank you. You know, I want to even just end with this, because I think you bring up such a great point that I hear all the time, is that I'm not like, people always say, are you cured? I even hate that word. It's not even legal to say, are you cured?
Oh,
like, it's not even legal to say certain states. And I don't even say that word. And I think it's a huge thing when you're in business, but especially in health. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be at your perfect weight to be a weight loss coach.
And what is perfect?
You don't have to have, well, but right? I hear this all the time. I hear somebody say, I haven't done all my emotional work, so I can't take women to emotional freedom. I'm like, that's BS. Mm-hmm. Like, we've never done our work.
You're never done. Exactly.
You know, we're never done. And I just, you know, I want to like say, you know, for any business owner, no matter what business you're in, I think it's such a testament to just say, like, to just go for it. You know, it's your heart that fuels your passion to want to build your dream.
Absolutely.
And if you can stay in alignment with your heart and be around really good people and listen to, you know, interviews like this and just get inspired, like, all the chatter in the head goes away.
Right. And, you know, it's interesting too, because when I started my work that I'm doing now, I was a complete emotional mess, and it helped me heal. You know, it helped me get in alignment. It helped me study harder. It helped me fix my broken pieces. So I think that often when we are struggling is when we're at our most powerful. And I don't know that people see that, because once you get through that, you can say, holy shit. Okay, in my lowest low, I made one of the biggest decisions of my life. That is so empowering for people to actually see that just because you're stuck doesn't mean you can't get unstuck, right? And I think a lot of entrepreneurs go into business when they're at their lowest low. They've lost their job. They're in crisis. They have desperation and desire and passion far outweigh being content. You know, and I hope to God that my business is never in a place where I feel like I can stop. You know,
and what you said there was really good, because the truth of the matter is, you know how they say, like, you know, in your weakness, you know, God could be made manifest. You know,
right?
But it's like funny, in your weakness, that is when your passion is exposed. Because so many people want to do something else or somebody else. They see that Rachel is this, or Marlo is this kind of coach. So let me go ahead and be just like them. And it's like, well, that works for them, but it might not work for you. You have to figure out your little unique twerk, or your, you know, little unique thing about yourself.
Right.
And that's what I love about what you guys have just been so vulnerable about. You guys really just exposed yourself and said, I was not perfect, but I still stepped into success, not only daily, not only financially, you know, but in every area of my life. And I was broken, but that's when my passion was the most exposed, and people got to see me, and that's why I was successful. So if you could just, in that, whether broken or even in that unbroken place, if you could just realize that you is absolutely wonderful and it's sufficient and it's enough. It's so funny, like when you're sick or when these things happen and you're broken, so many things come to the point where it comes to a head, and you're like, why would people want to buy my stuff? I'm like in the worst place, but it's because the beauty of yourself comes out, the truth.
Right. And I do believe that when entrepreneurs get real, that's when they get successful. And I'm sure that all of us know somebody who every once in a while we think, are they really being genuine, or are they just going for the top dollar? And that's not to say that we're not in business to make money, because we are. I mean, I know that I want to have money so that I can have a roof over my head and I can travel, but that's not what drives me. And I think when, for example, with Rachel, you know, it's quite obvious that what drives her is to bring other people the freedom in their health and that she found, right? And that she's determined to help other people see that they don't have to stay where they are. And I think as long as you sit in that you will be successful, but it's not going to just fall into your lap. It's not. Like, I can't just say, okay, guys, I'm ready to be a freedom coach to anybody who's here to listen, you know, like, how's that working out for you, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important, to step into your authenticity, and then the right people will come to you based on what you have to offer.
Yeah, because
always.
Yeah, because you know, Rachel, she's been through a lot, and there's somebody out there that has been through or is going through the same thing, and you know, they would love to get to build a relationship with somebody that positive that has reached that success point of breakthrough. While she might have other things that she's going through right now, it doesn't matter. She's already been successful in one thing. So once she broke through, she was qualified to teach someone else. And that's what she did. Many, many little moments of truth and breakthrough. So thank you so much. You know, let's just, I definitely appreciate you being here and sharing that vulnerable story, because you were very open and I loved it, you know. So, you know, Marlo, if you want to just do like a simple closing thing or a question that you might have for her. And then Rachel, I'd love for you to just close it off and just really, you know, just really share with the audience whatever is on your heart at this point, for them to really understand the behind the scenes, those moments of truth that entrepreneurs go through and how real they are.
I have lots of questions for Rachel. I mean, I'm sure Rachel and I could sit down for hours and chit chat about health and wellness. So Rachel, do you do all of your programming online, or do you do any meetups, for example? Like, do you do any live stuff that people can know about, or are you online predominantly, or what's your? I might have missed.
I have a balance.
I'm sorry?
No, I have a balance of everything. I think a very healthy business for me, because this was the foundation that I was taught, is online, offline, passive, active.
Right.
And so I have active income, passive income, online income, and offline. I see some people face to face in my backyard, you know, in my home office. I have programs that are online. I have done for you programs that are, you know, passive income that I create. And then I have also online groups that I run. I have group coaching. I have also face-to-face coaching. And it's also a balance of what has worked for me also as being a mom. I can't be in many different places, but also ones that I enjoy. I love group coaching. I love the synergy, but I also love one-on-one coaching because you break through at different levels. So I have, and I also have a balance where I see clients and I also work with other coaches.
Awesome.
And I do a lot of free events. Yes. So for what I call normal people and coaches.
Well, it was interesting. Just recently, it's a woman that I work with, and she does a lot of free live, like free speaking, public speaking. And she said that she gets some of her greatest clients from her live speaking events, you know, because they come up to her later and say, I want to work with you. And so even though she got paid $0 for the event, she made 10 grand off of one client. So, you know, I think it's important for people to understand that it's not just about the dollar right now. It's about connecting, building relationships, building trust. And I think there's nothing better than face to face. Like, I'm so glad that I got to be on here to just meet you, because now there's a person, you know, to the name.
Exactly. And that
was great meeting you.
That is the beauty of it. I'll definitely connect you guys after, because I think that would be awesome. You guys are very similar, so you'll love Marlo.
That's what you think.
So and actually she would be awesome for the Uncommon Woman. Just a little plug.
I know.
So I'll have Marlo kind of reach out to you and get with that, because, you know, your story will change a lot of lives. So, so, you know, in wrapping up, just let us know, what are your thoughts when I say, hey, you know what, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you're going to struggle, you're going to have health issues, you're going to have a lot of things, kids, family, husband, whatever. What would you say to that person that either is going through it or will go through it?
Yeah, and you may not have health issues. I mean, you may not have my story at all. But the one thing in any building of a business, you will have the moments you want to quit. And that's when I always say that you have to tap into that deeper why, and it often can't be financial. There's a financial component to any business, but there has to be something so much deeper, like, why are you doing this? And whether it's for the reason that you got into building that business, or whether it is a financial reason. Yes, I want to put, food on the table and I want to pay our bills, but there has to be even of a deeper why. And so I always say, write that down, put that on a vision board. There will come times where you will also create something that you think is really going to be great, and it may not launch great. You might not have anybody sign up. Don't quit. You just haven't messaged it right. Go back to the drawing board, sit down. You may not have, clearly spoken to your niche properly. It may not even be the right niche for you. You may thought that it was the right people that you're speaking to, and it just may not be. So if you really want this, it's just about sitting there and going back to those opt-ins, really testing out your market, really understanding, what you're meant to do. And, like in any business, you're going to have the ups and downs. So just buckle your seatbelt and prepare yourself, because it is all worth it. I hear from people all the time that say, I'm having such financial struggle. And I always say, well, this is the time that you should think outside of the box. This is the time that you put on your hustle shoes and, you really tap into your heart and say, what, there are people out there that really need me. So when you can step out of fear and step into a place of knowing that you were meant to do this, that's when you're really going to have a successful business.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I just hope that this has encouraged everybody. I love to do these Moments of Truth shows and bring on entrepreneurs, because, there's so much behind the scenes that so many don't get to see. And we don't always talk about it on a daily basis, but everybody has that life story. And I have this show to just encourage you, as a passion seeker, as somebody who is, has something that is a message that they want to share with the world. And it is possible. And just like, Rachel said, sometimes you got to tweak it a little bit. Sometimes you got to mastermind. That's why I value, Marlo is one of my mastermind ladies. We bring things past each other. We talk to each other. What do you think about this? What about this? What is your idea on this? Did this work for you? And she's like, I really don't understand your message. And I'm like, all right, back to the drawing board before I even launch, and I value those relationships so much. So if I could say anything, build community, because it will be one of those backbones for you, a community that you can trust, a group of individuals. So, what Tanya Paxton here, the Truthpreneur. Follow your passion. It is the absolute pathway to your destiny. You can also find us at momentsoftruth.thetruthpreneur.com. That's where you can register and you can get goodies and freebies and all this other good stuff. Rachel's going to do an amazing blog post for us, guest blog post. So she's going to be talking about a lot of things there, about health, about productivity, and I'm sure much more. And so, and to get a hold of Rachel, you can go to rachelswellness.com. And, I'm also going to plug in, there's a little, mindset thing that Marlio's doing. She's creating healthy boundaries. And it's really, really awesome, because she's taking health in a totally different perspective, in a totally different way. And so it's really, really great. So I'll leave that link also in the chat. But definitely come back for our next one. We're actually coming back this Thursday, where we're talking about a cancer survivor that found his passion in helping other people you know, expose their passion. And I mean, you can imagine what it is to go through those things, chemo and being tired, but there was no excuse. And so that is actually going to be this Thursday, and that's going to be awesome. So love you guys. Mwah. Follow your passions, the pathway to your destiny.
It was great.